NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Raiders.
And here in Los Angeles, the weather is absolutely perfect, entirely different than the rest of the United States. 56 degrees, a bit of a breeze. It is partly cloudy. Right now in the AFC West, Kansas City is losing to Houston, so the Raiders could well, with a win here, move out in front. Now the Central Division, Pittsburgh has won. It looks as if Houston is going to win, so Cincinnati is going to have to win to stay even. And we are set to go. And Boomer Esiason is going to start for Cincinnati. The Raiders won the toss. They'll be receiving. That means that Lee Johnson will be kicking off for Cincinnati. Jamie Holland and Ron Brown are the deep backs on the return. And here is the speedster Ron Brown at the 7. And he goes down at the 10-yard line. We'll take a look at the offensive set for the Raiders. Their offensive line, possibly the best single part of their team. They continue to control the line of scrimmage. Backs and receivers. Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, they'll continue to alternate at running back. Steve Smith will be doing the blocking. The Raiders will go to 3 wide receivers. Smith will come out, and Tim Brown will come in. And the Raiders go to work at their own, just outside their own 10-yard line. And here is Marcus Allen. And he will go out to the 14. The Cincinnati defense, their front 7, they will feature number 50, linebacker James Francis, leading candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year honors. When Cincinnati goes to their nickel, the other 3 linebackers will come out. Jason Buck comes in to rush the passer along with Barney Busley and Mitchell Price. They join a secondary that has been decimated by injuries, losing Ricky Dixon with a broken leg and Lewis Billups, who is out for this game with an ankle injury. Second down and 7, and Schrader to throw. Drops it off over the middle. It is incomplete. Good defensive play by David Fulcher. Allen, the intended receiver.
Oh, I thought that was a little bit of a catchable ball. Jay Schrader made his decision right away that he was going to go to Marcus in a more conservative mode. Marcus Allen not that effective this year in catching the ball, but Jay Schrader had made his mind up way too soon.
Third down. Tim Brown comes in, 3 wide receivers. Marcus stays in the block. Tipped, it is incomplete, and Skip McClendon got a hand on it. Fernandez, possibly the intended receiver. It'll be 4th down.
Cincinnati came with a blitz. They came with 6 people, and the Raiders did an excellent job of picking it up. Schrader had plenty of time and actually could have run for this. Take a look at the middle of your screen as he steps up. Marcus does a good job picking up Barney Bussey. He's got plenty of room, and right there he throws it practically right into the hands there of McClendon, who is the spy in that circumstance and does a good job of deflecting the pass.
So Jeff Gossett will be kicking. Mitchell Price, the rookie from Tulane, is the return man. And he takes it at the 43. And he will return it to the 47-yard line. Vance Mueller was down to make the tackle. 39 yards on the kick, 5 yards on the return, and the Cincinnati offense comes onto the field. Their offensive line, strong and healthy, anchored by 9 times Pro Bowler Anthony Munoz, one of the great offensive linemen in the history of the game. And backs and receivers, they break very quickly with this no-huddle offense. And that is what we will be seeing. So you've got to kind of stay loose when you cover Cincinnati. And as you notice, he is there, Boomer Esiason. And he gives off to James Brooks, and there's nothing there. It'll be 2nd down and 10. The other thing you might have noticed from Cincinnati's standpoint is that Eric Ball starting for Ickey Woods. Ickey bothered by some rib injuries. Greg Townsend with the tackle. Sam White's the head coach of Cincinnati.
Ricky Ellison was excited to make that play. You could see how animated he was. Charlie, a lot of the reason for that is last week on the Monday night game against the Detroit Lions against the run and shoot, Ricky Ellison, the middle linebacker, played all of 3 plays. So he's got a lot of energy. He ain't tired.
Second down. And here is Brooks. Back to the line of scrimmage. Line of Washington. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Raiders defense, their front 7 led by number 93, Greg Townsend. He's having a Pro Bowl season. Every week, he makes something happen. When the Raiders go to their nickel package, Bob Golick and 2 linebackers will come out. Aaron Wallace comes in as a down lineman, along with Torrin Dorn and Gary Lewis, who join his secondary. That is markedly different from the Raiders in the past. They're playing a lot of zone defense rather than strictly man-to-man.
And Charlie, I think that's one of the reasons why they want to go to the hurry-up. They want to force them to not get 6 defensive backs in there to play their wide receivers man-to-man.
Boomer play action, 1st down as he goes to the tight end, Rodney Holman. A gain of 14. Mike Harden with the tackle.
Rodney Holman is probably the best tight end in the AFC. And I talked with Sam Weiss yesterday. He says we definitely have to use him more. There he has Mike Harden in coverage man for man, and really it's just a simple in route. Mike Harden doesn't make the close. And that's too big of a bodied arm tackle. Rodney Holman there for the 1st down. Pro Bowler the last 2 seasons. You get a chance to see his numbers. Not overwhelming, but as Sam Weiss says, we need to get him the ball more.
In this set, Eric Ball is the remaining back. Brooks comes out as a wide receiver. He is in the slot on the left side. And Ball carries. He's going to get a yard from the 41 to the 40-yard line of the Raiders. It'll be 2nd down and 9 as Bob Golick was there to meet him.
One of the things that Cincinnati is experimenting with is they go to the different fronts. You'll notice that when they stretched Rodney Holman out into a wide receiver situation, they had him man for man on a linebacker. And I think that Sam Weiss, just be as paying attention, is going to take advantage of that maybe later on, because a linebacker man for man, Rodney Holman, is definitely a mismatch in favor of the Bengals.
Esiason to throw. Rolls. Throws back. Into coverage. It is caught. Tim McGee. 41 yards and the touchdown. And for McGee, that is his first touchdown of the year, and they went into double coverage.
Charlie, I will bet you right here $100 that he was throwing that ball to Tim Brown. Look at this. This is just a clear-out route. He's not part of this at all. He's throwing to Tim Brown coming the other direction. Look at Tim Brown coming into the screen. Eddie Anderson doesn't turn around quick enough. McGee is the only one looking back for the ball. He's got a tremendous advantage. He sees the ball coming. He gets the catch. As you mentioned, take a look at those numbers. Last year, this was somebody who caught over 1,100 yards with 65 catches. And this is his first touchdown of the season on his 39th catch.
Now, we have a stoppage of play and a conference, so we are assuming that we are having a review.
The only thing that I could think of, Charlie, possibly was when Boomer Esiason was rolling out. This is definitely a catch, but Boomer Esiason might have been close to the line of scrimmage. That might be what they're looking at, because this was certainly a catch. They thought that might be dual possession, but definitely not. He has that totally. The officials knew it right away. Look at that touchdown.
And the extra point is good. And Cincinnati moves on top 7-0. And let's look at Boomer as he was rolling out to the left. This is the one thing you cannot do with a groin injury.
It doesn't look to me like he's limping at all here. Is he favoring that leg? Doesn't look like it to me. How close is he to the line of scrimmage? Take a look right here. There's the line marker.
Oh, he's plenty. He's got a yard and a half to spare.
Look at the way he threw that. That was an absolute prayer. And he was going to Eddie Brown, I guarantee you. McGee happened to be there.
53 yards in the drive in 5 plays.
It's like they say sometimes, better to be lucky than good, doesn't it?
It's always better to be lucky than good. So with 10:57 left to go in the first quarter, Cincinnati moves on top by a score of 7-0. And so Lee Johnson will be kicking off.
Art Shell had warned his team before the game. He says, listen, don't even listen to any of the rumors about Boomer Esiason until I see him on the sidelines in street clothes. Boomer Esiason is playing in this game. And obviously they know not right now, not only is he playing well.
Jamie Holland and Ron Brown are the deep backs on the return. And at the 2-yard line, here's Ron Brown. And he returns to the 25-yard line, where Lynn James makes the stop. Check of the ticker. Houston big over Kansas City in the 4th quarter. Pittsburgh by 3. That's a final over New Orleans. Miami defeats Seattle. 4th quarter, Tampa Bay leading Minnesota. And a final, Dallas does it again. You know, magic in that city. Indianapolis a final over the Jets, and Cleveland leading Atlanta. And in the other 2 late games that have just started, there's no score. Here, Cincinnati 7, and the Raiders nothing. And Los Angeles has the ball first down at their own 25, and Schrader comes out throwing, and he goes deep, and the pass gets away. It is incomplete. Fernandez had a hand on it, could not pull it in. When I talked to Fernandez yesterday, Mervin asked me, he said, who's your broadcast partner? And I said, Todd Christensen. And he said, oh, we better catch every pass, because Todd always caught every pass, and he is going to be on us if we don't.
No.
That's what he said.
I'm very magnanimous. Here you got to give credit to Carl Carter. Take a look. He has a slant route. He comes up right here. He's got it in his hands, but Carl Carter gets the arm right in there and knocks the ball loose. Good play by number 45, Carl Carter, for a much maligned secondary for the Cincinnati Bengals.
And here's Marcus Allen. Steve Smith with a lead block. He's got 5 yards to the 30. It'll be 3rd down and 5. David Fulcher with the tackle.
Charlie, a lot has been said about the problems that Cincinnati has had defensively, particularly against the run. They're giving up 4.7 yards per rush, which is the 2nd worst in the league. But their pass defense happens to be also last in the AFC. So I think that maybe the Raiders might have been a little bit overconfident early on here, anticipating the fact that they could do whatever they wanted. There you can see Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, trying to come up with his whatever he can to stop this silver and black offense.
3rd down and 5. Brown is in. Smith comes out. Marcus Allen, the remaining back. Marcus stays in the block. Schrader comes underneath the covers. The tight end, Ethan Horton. This is close to the 1st down marker. Carl Carter with the tackle.
This is an interesting mark. Where he caught the ball was across the line, but it was a good hit there to move him back, and now they're going to have to measure.
So Jim Tunney, the referee, will bring it out, and the chains will tell the tale. It was 3rd down and 5. 9:46 is the time remaining in the 1st quarter. Cincinnati scored in their first offensive possession. They lead 7-0. And this is the 2nd offensive possession for the Raiders. And the Bengals lead at 7-0. It is a 1st down.
Jay Schrader is getting excellent protection, but right here, if you're going to get a chance to look at the top of your screen, watch the left tackle, watch number 60, Rory Graves, coming back. Watch him just look at the takedown right there, just to the right of your screen. It's like Ray Chester used to tell me when I was playing, if you can get away with it, it's a good play.
1st down, Raiders. Steve Smith. That is only the 3rd reception of the year for Steve Smith.
You know, this is something that I addressed to Art Shell yesterday. One of the problems that the Raiders have had has been getting the ball to their running backs in catching situations. Steve Smith in 1988 had 8 touchdown catches. There was somebody who was integral into the offense of the Raiders. Those 4 running backs for the Raiders have only combined for, prior to that one, 20 catches this season, with Marcus Allen only catching 13 heading into this game.
2nd and 3. And here is Smith. He's got the 1st down. Flag is down. He goes to the 46-yard line of Cincinnati, but we'll check out the first marker of the game. Solomon Wilcots and Rod Jones make the tackle.
This hold they won't get away with. Steve Smith knows his role, is what Art Shell told us yesterday. He is the one that's designed to go in there and be the battering ram.
That's what he said, yeah, battering. Because when the way he came up, he said, what about Marcus?
Holding 65, still 2nd down.
Well, we see he and Bo in there together, and he said, no way. They're there to run the ball. They are not a battering ram. The man who is number 35, Steve Smith.
Interestingly, if they would catch the old Bengal, Max Montoya is the one who got caught holding. I'm sure that he said to the official, that's no way, no way. Those are teammates of mine. I'd never do anything illegal. Yeah, right.
just across the 40 to the 41-yard line.
7-8 yard gain there. I'm sure people are asking themselves the question, Bo Jackson last year had a mammoth game against the Cincinnati Bengals, including that 192-yard touchdown run. Why isn't he in the game right now? Art Shell told us that he does it by feel. He says there's nothing scientific about it. He says that if I feel good about the way one guy is going or another guy is going, I'll go with him regardless, because I know that puts the pressure on the defense, because whoever is back there is guaranteed to have fresh legs.
To Marcus, and he goes to the 44-yard line. He needed 4. He only got 3, so it'll be 4th down, and that means that Jeff Gossett will come in to kick. It's not to Tagaloa made the tackle.
Couldn't wait to say that
I have to take a breath between the first and the second name. We'll get it, but we have to take that deep breath.
This is definitely an audible play. They had the 3 wide receivers to the left side, and Jay Schrader felt that he could audible out to the option. Certainly Jay Schrader at 6'4", 215 is not going to make anybody forget Jack Mildren. He pitched just a little bit too soon there. He didn't commit the defensive end soon enough, and Marcus is just a little bit short.
Here's the kick. Mitchell Price is the return man. And he'll stay away from it. It'll be down around the 25 or the 26-yard line.
They're arguing whether or not it might have hit the back leg of one of the Bengals.
And Ethan Horton comes up with it.
But did it hit somebody?
The ruling is that it was touched by a Raider, and it becomes dead at that point.
Did a Raider touch it first? There's the bounce.
Looks as if they're arguing off of the heel of Barney Bussey.
They're arguing that it came off the heel of Barney Bussey. You can see right there everybody saying, get up, get up, get up. It's difficult to tell because of the angle of the bounce of the ball as to whether or not it hit him, and now they're going to review it.
Now it will be reviewed. Now realize on the review that they see only what you have seen at home.
Whether the ball was touched by the receiving team.
You're going to get a chance to see right over here amongst this group right here. Does it hit Barney Bussey on the heel? That's the angle that you have to look at right there. Does it hit him on the heel, or does it just take a bounce? Now you can see he turns right around, which would indicate to you, I know that that's an intangible, but the way he turned around would indicate, yes, indeed, it did hit me. Now look at him look to the side. What? Not me. Not me.
Upon review, the play stands for down Cincinnati.
I think Cincinnati might have got away with one there because it was very close to the heel, and the reaction of Barney Bussey would seem to indicate to me that it did hit him.
And that's the best replay that we have. And so Cincinnati takes over at their own 26-yard line. They lead 7-0. And Eric Ball is the ball carrier. And he's going to have a yard, maybe 2 on the play, and that's going to be just about it. As Jerry Robinson comes in to make the tackle.
Jerry Robinson does a good job and is playing some outstanding football. In 2 days, he will be having his 34th birthday. Jerry Robinson, a former Pro Bowler from the Philadelphia Eagles, now playing outside backer for the Raiders. Plays every down, one of the few linebackers who still plays in the inside in passing situations. But I should mention here with regards to Jerry Robinson, you notice he's having to come out and man for man when they flex out either James Brooks or Rodney Holman. And I'm surprised that the Bengals have not taken advantage of that.
Play action to Harold Green, and the pass is dropped by Jim Riggs. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Standard fake counter tray had him open, had a 1st down.
And Greg Townsend was putting the pressure on. So the only big play we have seen thus far was 6.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. The touchdown pass from Boomer Esiason to Tim McGee and covered 41 yards. And since then, it's just been pick and choose. 3rd and 7. Play action fake. Boomer steps away. Good agility. It is intercepted off of the tip. Ricky Ellison has the interception. His first of the year. Eddie Brown couldn't pull it in.
Well, that really wasn't Eddie Brown's fault. Boomer Esiason does a good job of getting away from the pressure, but in rolling to his right and throwing back across his body left-handed, He throws it behind Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown trying to reach back and make a great catch. Watch what happens here as he cushions the ball and it goes straight up in the air, and it's an easy interception there for Ricky Ellison.
And Bo Jackson is in the ball game.
Ricky Ellison doesn't play much on passing downs, Charlie. That's his first interception as a Raider.
And here is Bo Jackson. And he is out of bounds at the 24. He's got 3. It'll be second down and 7. Carl Carter knocked him out.
Steve Smith laid a good block. I thought Bo was going to cut inside him when he went to the right there. It looked like he had a little more room inside. But what happens when you run the 40 and 4.18 is you trust your speed. And if I'd had that kind of speed, maybe I would have too.
And that average 5.5 yards leads the NFL.
Charlie, he has a career average with the Raiders of 5.4 yards per carry. Just to put that into perspective, the all-time leader in average per carry was Jimmy Brown with an average of 5.2.
Steve Smith with a key block opens the hole. Ball to the 10. 14 yards, first down. David Fulcher and Solomon Wilcox with the tackle.
Charlie, one of the few people in the National Football League that I genuinely believe fans come to see as opposed to their teams is Bo Jackson. Look at the excitement he generates. He cuts into the secondary with that speed, runs through arm tackles, got away with them there as David Fulcher jerked on his face mask, and the official missed it.
It is a first down right at the 10-yard line. And ball goes to the 6-yard line. It'll be second down. Charlie Crumry with the tackle.
Charlie, what I meant by that point is that, you know, in the other sports, in baseball and basketball, a lot of times you go to see individuals. You go to see a Michael Jordan dunk, or you go to see a Jose Canseco hit a home run or strike out. A lot of times in football, I think the support of the fans comes for the group, for the team. I root for the home team. I'm a Charger fan. I'm a Raider fan. I'm a Bengal fan. Bo Jackson, with his great ability in both sports, has actually superseded that. I genuinely believe that he is one of the few, if the only man in the National Football League that people genuinely pay to see.
And here he is again. This time he is stopped just inside the 5-yard line, where it will be third down.
Well, that was Steve Smith.
Well, that was Steve Smith, number 35.
Well, that's what happens.
I was expecting that.
Bo distraction, doesn't he?
Has to be Bo. Of course it's Bo.
Talking so much about Bo, we forget something about Steve Smith.
His jersey. Clever of him.
And you know what's tough on Steve Smith? We mentioned earlier his role as as somewhat of a spear carrier, the guy that punches it in. He is a very good runner, and he is a very good pass receiver, but he never gets the chance because of the greatness of both Allen and Jackson.
And now Marcus Allen is back in. Tim Brown is in motion. Schrader to throw. Far side pass is complete to Brown. Touchdown. I'd like to welcome those of you who have just watched Houston, Kansas City. As you know, the Oilers won that one 27-10. And here, Tim Brown just accepted a touchdown pass from Jay Schrader of 5 yards. Here is the extra point, and this ball game is tied at 7. We'll go back and take a look at the touchdown.
Well, this is 2 weeks in a row now for Tim Brown. Tim Brown is just going to cut across the screen on a crossing pattern right there. He runs the out, and Solomon Wilcox isn't able to keep up with him. Wilcox is a safety. Got caught there by
Jones and Todd Christensen. 3:54 the time remaining in the first quarter. We are tied here at 7, and for Tim Brown, you just saw him score only the second touchdown of the season. Weiss and Jennings are the deep backs on the return. Stanford Jennings outside the 20, then at the 23, comes clear to the 25 and brought down at the 26-yard line by Dan Lamb. We've got a timeout, and we are tied. Cincinnati 7 and the Raiders 7. Here in Los Angeles, we are tied at 7-7. I'm Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. Boomer Esiason playing, and he's moving around pretty well. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I really am. He didn't look very good yesterday at all. I thought he was going to be in a lot of pain, but it's amazing what adrenaline will do for you, and the fact that your two divisional rivals just won. That's enough impetus for him to play.
So there is a lot of impetus on both sides, and we will look at the standings in the Central Division and in the West to give you an idea of just exactly what's happening today.
Well, I think that is something they have to consider. I think that maybe they felt like the last two games of the season were more important. Those are games they had to have, and maybe they could let this one slide. I don't think so anymore because of the fact that I think that they didn't expect Houston to beat Kansas City, and I'm not sure they expected Pittsburgh to win in New Orleans.
And here is the Central Division. This is updated with Houston and Pittsburgh both winning, so Cincinnati right now have a record of 7-6. And Cleveland, they won their ball game, so congratulations to the Cleveland Browns. Their record now is 3-11. Esiason over the middle, and all alone is Rodney Holman. And Holman out of bounds at the 31-yard line of the Raiders. Holman, the tight end, rambles for 53 yards.
Well, of course, Rodney Holman went for 50-some yards. Those tight ends, man, they can run. They got some serious speed. This is a bad decision on the part of the Raider defense. Take a look. Jerry Robinson, who would have had him in man coverage, goes right past him. Look at that. He sneaks underneath. You can see Holman is all alone. Jerry Robinson had him in coverage and decided to blitz, and the Raiders end up costing him. It ends up costing them, and Lionel Washington able to run him down, but not before he gets a big, big gain. I guess Sam Weiss wasn't kidding. He said he was going to use him more, and that's exactly what's happened here. 2 big catches here in the first quarter.
And James Brooks with a flag down. Brooks to the 26-yard line if the play stands up.
Penalty flag on the play.
Charlie, away against Cincinnati. When we went away for the commercial, Cincinnati was penalized 10 yards for an illegal block.
78. Still first down.
That is holding against Anthony Munoz. They were penalized on the kickoff return. That's the reason when we went away, the football was at one place, and when we came back, it was at another on the field. Second time they've been penalized in this drive, but so far it really hasn't affected them that much.
No, it doesn't exactly look like we're heading for a defensive struggle, does it? Boomer Esiason's groin doesn't seem to be bothering him. He's throwing the ball tremendously well, and the way Bo Jackson ran on that last drive, if that's any indication of the rest of the day, we're going to have a lot of yardage.
First down and 20 at the 41-yard line. Another flag is down. Ricky Ellison and Scott Davis on the tackle. Davis, number 70 for the Raiders. We talked with Art Shell. He said he's always used size, but now he is using technique.
And he's doing an excellent job of it. Not only does he have 8 sacks, which is quite high, he has a tremendous haircut. I love that coiffure. Interestingly enough, Charlie, a lot of people didn't realize this. When he got drafted by the Raiders, he happened to be in jail at the time. He'd had some scuffle, and they said this guy was made to play for the silver and black.
85 offense. Penalty is accepted. It'll still be first down.
Holding on Tim McGee.
But all seriousness aside, he really has been playing quite well this year, as witnessed by those 8 sacks and 50-plus tackles.
Anthony Munoz has been shaken up on the play and is being administered to at the 42-yard line.
Cleveland Browns 13, Atlanta Falcons 10.
And we've got an injury timeout. We'll be back in just a moment. Anthony Munoz on the far sideline with 2:34 to go in the first quarter. And it's first down and 30 for Cincinnati. Back at their own 49-yard line. Paul Chachan has replaced Munoz in that offensive line. Esiason, this is a screen. Spelled out originally by Scott Davis, who was floating in the neighborhood. Jennings on the receiving end, and Lionel Washington with the tackle, and a loss of 4, maybe 5 more yards. Excellent defensive play by the Raiders.
Interestingly enough, the replacement of Jatan for Munoz, I really think gave that away. What the offensive tackle has to do is he has to give the defensive end the illusion that he has beaten him. What Jatan did there is he just backed up and almost gave an open door to Davis, and Davis wasn't stupid. He waited behind and, as you say, screwed up the play and let Washington come up to make the play and eliminate with a 5-yard loss.
Now here's a Boomer.
Boomer's a wide receiver. Are you kidding me?
Receiver, a direct snap to James. And he goes to the 44-yard line of the Raiders. That's Lynn James, the rookie from Arizona State, taken in the 5th round of the draft. And when Sam Weiss told us yesterday, we have a wrinkle or two.
A wrinkle or two.
And that is wrinkle 1. I'm sure there's wrinkle 2 still waiting on it. When he gives a finger like it, swings around, same personnel. No changes in personnel.
Well, everybody had to assume that they were going to go somewhere out here to the right. Look at Scott Davis. He's uncertain. Where are they going? They thought James might throw, and all of a sudden he uses that great speed and cuts up for a big gainer. Man, they're anything but dull, this Cincinnati bunch. That's great.
At the Los Angeles 44-yard line.
Oh, sure. Now he needs a timeout.
Now he takes the timeout.
He's confused. He's behind the center. He doesn't know what to do there.
I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a wide receiver. 45 seconds, time remaining, first quarter. We are tied at 7 in the Coliseum. We'll be back in a moment.
For you young people out there, this is how not to get out in your two-point stance as a wide receiver. But look at Torredorn. He turns and starts to run. He thinks that Boomer's going to beat him deep. Doggone it, Charlie. I would think of the guy wearing number 46 would know better than that, but they're not going to throw to number 7 out there.
Oh, and when they look at the tapes on Monday, I had him covered.
That's right.
Covered.
Of course, on the other side in Cincinnati, Boomer's going to say, I had him beat.
3rd and 23. Boomer in the shotgun. Still no signs of that groin pull. He has been moving around. And he's going to be sacked for the first time. Aaron Wallace got him. His 7th sack of the year for the rookie from Texas A&M.
Charlie, he went right over Ken Moyer, the replacement for Anthony Munoz. Take a look right here. You're going to get a chance to see that's Moyer, the replacement, and here's Wallace, and he's just going to come upfield with a rip move and get outside of him. You just cannot replace a 9-time Pro Bowler like Anthony Munoz. Look at Wallace, just too fast for Moyer, almost strips the ball, gets Boomer for the sack.
And Lee Johnson will be kicking, and Tim Brown is the return man. 15 to the 20. Couple of nice moves at the 25. Returns to around the 27 or the 28-yard line. 36 yards on the kick, 14 yards on the return. Let's check out the 10-minute ticker. It's a final. Houston over Kansas City. That's a big one by 17. Pittsburgh by 3 over New Orleans, and Miami defeats Seattle. These are all the early games. Tampa Bay wins, downing Minnesota. Dallas big over Phoenix, and Phoenix really been playing well recently. The Colts over the Jets, and Cleveland with a victory. In the late games, Philadelphia leading Green Bay by 7. No score, San Diego and Denver. And here we are tied at 7-7 with only 12 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Charlie, a quick note on that Houston game. Warren Moon threw for over 500 yards.
The fake to Bo Jackson and the reverse to Fernandez. And all that will really do is run out the clock here in the first quarter. That is the end of the first period. And the score is Cincinnati 7 and the Raiders 7.
Got sounds ending the first quarter of play.
My amigo Juan just came out from Mexico, so I'm introducing him to my American friend Larry and our favorite beer, Miller Lite.
Por favor. Juan, mi Miller Lite de gusto porque it tastes muy bueno.
Larry.
Ladies, mimosa calorios and no gusto filiopo. El comprende?
No, not really.
For mucho great taste, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Does your friend speak any English?
This is Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. Sun-drenched Coliseum in Los Angeles. Absolutely a gorgeous day. The statistics in the first quarter.
Well, the significant statistic there is the Bengals passing. And, of course, half of that is on that big play to Tim McGee. 40 yards rushing for the Raiders bodes well because they want to get Bo going and Marcus as well. The turnover by the Bengals turned out to be consequential because that's the one they were able to punch in for the touchdown, the interception by Ricky Ellison.
Second down. Bo Jackson is the remaining back. Raiders pass is incomplete. There was a misread, possibly by Willie Gaul or by Bo, because nobody was where they were supposed to be. At least they were not where Schrader thought they were supposed to be.
One of the things that Art Shell told us about Bo Jackson is he's having a hard time getting into the passing game. He doesn't understand things quite yet. Right there, he threw. Somebody had to be there because he threw it right between both Galt and Bo Jackson. And my guess is probably Bo that misread the coverage.
Third down and 11. Schrader 3 of 7 for 18 yards. The touchdown to Tim Brown. 4-man rush. Schrader has protection, wants to go deep. Everybody is covered. He goes short to the right side, trying just to pick up the first down. It is incomplete.
Hats have to go off to that secondary of the Cincinnati Bengals, Charlie. You're absolutely right. Jay Schrader had plenty of time to get it in there. The coverage was just too good.
So it is 4th down. And Jeff Gossett will be kicking. This is Mitchell Price, the return man. The rookie from Tulane taken in the 9th round of the draft.
Curious play calling there, too, I might add. You know, especially the way Bo was running there at the end of that last drive. You'd have thought that they'd have kept going with that, but instead they went with the reverse and 2 passes.
And Cincinnati has had a problem stopping the run. And Sam Weiss told us he figured that the Raiders were going to run it down their throats. So you're right. Strange. Kick is not that good. Takes a bingo bounce back to the Raider 49-yard line. A kick of only 22 yards. And so Cincinnati with excellent field position when we come back. Good news for Cincinnati fans. Anthony Munoz is back in the ballgame. Schrader bundled up on the sideline for the Raiders. There is Munoz. When we talked with his former teammate Max Montoya, who is now, of course, with the Raiders, we asked you about going up against his. He said it's overrated going against your old team. He said, but I do miss Anthony. We were roommates on the road, and I would always, we had a ritual. I would leave a little bag of M&M peanuts on his bed at night in the hotel room.
That explains why he's 285.
Boomer, play action fake. Sprints is being chased by Howie Long. Throws this one. In reality, was throwing it away, and James Brooks came down with it, but out of bounds.
What a terrific catch by James Brooks, even though it was out of bounds. Howie Long forced that play, did a good job escaping inside. 5'9" and 180 pounds, James Brooks, formerly of the San Diego Chargers. A lot of people don't realize that James Brooks is the all-time leading rusher in a season. He holds the season record for the Cincinnati Bengals, which he got last year with 1,239 yards, and he also has the second-best record. And on a team that has the history of the Essex Johnsons and the Pete Johnsons and the Paul Robinsons, you don't figure a guy 5'9", 180 would rush for over 1,200 yards, but that's exactly what James Brooks did last year.
And here is Brooks breaking tackles as he goes to the 43-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 5. Ricky Ellison with the stop. A reminder, at the end of today's broadcast, McDonald's and NBC will be announcing the Ronald McDonald Children's Charities Player of the Game. Ball game tied 7-7 with 14:09 left to go in the first half. Esiason changing the play with hand signals. The pass is incomplete, and there is no flag as the intended receiver and the defender both went down, Lynn James and Torrin Dorn. It'll be 4th down. Big win for Houston today.
Boy, it was a big win. Very surprising in Kansas City. And take a look at the numbers for Warren Moon. 27 for 45, 527 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That record is only exceeded by the 554 yards of Norm Van Brocklin back in 1951 against the New York Yankees when he was a Los Angeles Ram. What a day for Warren Moon. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy either.
You're absolutely right. Here's Lee Johnson. And it will go into the end zone for the touchback. We'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. We've got a timeout. Cincinnati 7 and the Raiders 7.
43 yards on the punt by Lee Johnson.
Absolutely gorgeous day in Los Angeles. Look at this. Clear. Woo. Whew.
Man, this is one of those deals where it's healthful air. Finally, you get that healthful air quality.
And this is the way it was throughout the 20s and the 30s.
Well, I wasn't around that.
I know you were, yeah, but it was gorgeous then, too. And here's Bo Jackson, and he's going to lose a couple, maybe three. James Francis, the rookie from Baylor, having an excellent year.
Well, he really is. James Francis leads the team in both tackles and sacks. James Francis with 67 tackles and 8 sacks, and really the only rookie who's having a comparable season in the entire National Football League as a defenseman would be Mark Carrier, the free safety for the Chicago Bears, who's having an excellent season. But Francis has really helped that Cincinnati defense, which quite frankly has been beleaguered this season.
No change in the other two games that are going on now. No change here. We're still tied at 7. Second down 13. 12.5 minutes. Time remaining in the first half. Little play action by Schrader. Has time. Good protection. And the pass is complete to Fernandez down the sideline and out of bounds at the 49-yard line.
Well, sooner or later, the pressure was going to be just a little bit too much for that secondary of the Bengals. Jay Schrader just gets way too much time here, and Mervin Fernandez actually breaks his route off. He's running kind of an in route, and then he jogs to the outside when he sees that Schrader is wide open and continues to have the time that he has. Take a look at this. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Fernandez is able to get to the outside, break his pattern off, and have a little bit of a gap, enable him to get 32 yards on the play.
Fernandez yesterday, right before practice, was working out with the tennis ball. They were throwing tennis ball back to each other. He said it's good for eye-hand coordination.
You know what? When I was a kid, I read that when Henry Aaron was hitting all those home runs, they asked him one of the reasons, and he said it was because he squeezed tennis balls. So I figured it was good enough for Henry Aaron, it was good enough for me, and now it's good enough for Mervin Fernandez.
And it's good enough for Marcus Allen to carry here to the 45-yard line of Cincinnati. He'll pick up 6 on the play. It'll be second down and 4.
Gain of 6 yards.
We asked Marcus Jesse about alternating with Bo. He said, you know, it can lengthen your career because you're not going to get beat up. He said the downside is you never get in shape to play a full game. So if Bo gets hurt or if I get hurt, and neither one of us has to play a full game because we alternate in practice also, we're not in that kind of a shape. And Steve Smith, who's getting a workout today.
Well, it's the difference, Charlie, between quantity and quality years. I think that if you were to ask Marcus Allen, would you like to play 13 years and play this way, or say play only 11 years and play the way you've played the last 5 years, he'd say, I'll take the latter any day. He loves to get his hands on that football. And having been a teammate of Marcus Allen's, I know that this is one of those people that's in shape. He does not get tired, even though he is now on the north side of 30.
And in addition, one of the nice men of the world. He is Frederick.
Oh, he's nice to you, sure.
Good. But nobody's nice to you. Hey.
You've got a point.
Raiders third down and 3. Fires over the middle. It's Tim Brown. And Brown is going to score his second touchdown of the game from 44 yards away.
Once again, give a lot of credit to that front 5 for the Los Angeles Raiders, doing an outstanding job of keeping people off of Jay Schrader. Take a look at Tim Brown right here, jog to the inside. This is a zone route. Now look at number 50 in the middle, James Francis. Look at him right there. He doesn't follow the ball. Now, I don't know why James Francis is in the secondary anyway. That's their best pass rusher, Charlie. Why would he be going back and backpedaling to the middle of the field? Cincinnati got caught in the wrong defense there.
And the extra point is good. And the Raiders lead for the first time in the ball game, 14-7. And the reaction of Jay Schrader as we step aside. We'll be back in a moment.
Bo knows baseball. Bo knows football. Bo knows basketball, too.
Bo knows tennis?
No. Bo knows weights.
Bo, you don't know diddly.
10:32 time remaining. Tim Brown, number 81, had scored only one touchdown this season prior to today's game. He has 2 in this game. 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns. And here is Stanford Jennings of the Bengals on the return. 6 as he makes his cut at the 19. Was touchdown there just shy of the 20-yard line by Dan Lamb.
Charlie, Tim Brown, as you mentioned, only 1 coming into this game, and that 1 was the one-handed catch he had last Monday night against the Detroit Lions. So Tim Brown's 3 touchdowns have all come in the course of about 6 days. I'm happy for him, too. You know, he had the reconstructive knee surgery. Very first game, missed the entire 89 season. A lot of people have debated and argued over the fact that he's not the same, his knee's bugging him, but you couldn't tell over these last 2 weeks. You've got to be excited for somebody, the former Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame.
And here is Brooks. And he's going to lose a yard. Greg Townsend was there along with Mike Harden.
Well, Greg Townsend is going to get the tackle here, but Mike Harden is the one that created the problem. Coming up from his strong safety position, you'll see to the right of your screen, Mike Harden will come up and collide with the guard and alter the path of James Brooks. Right here, you'll see he has to jump right there. Townsend picks up the garbage. Eric Ball wasn't able to get out in front and knock Townsend off the ball, as not too many do anyway. Greg Townsend, as I mentioned time after time, Charlie, is absolutely the best player that has never played in a Pro Bowl, but I have a hunch that this year that's finally going to change.
And it should change. He is really having a great season. Boomer throws, far side pass is complete. It's going to be good for a yard, maybe a yard and a half. And that's going to be the extent of it, as Eddie Anderson and Lionel Washington were right there. Third down and 9 at the 21.
Thomas Benson in on the tackle as well. Interestingly enough, both inside linebackers for the Los Angeles Raiders. Ricky Ellison and Thomas Benson are courtesy of Plan B. They were Plan B free agents acquired by the Raiders. And this is something the Raiders have done well over the last 2 years in acquiring Plan B free agents, and the draft as well have helped them immeasurably.
Ickey Woods is in the ballgame for Cincinnati. Now the wide receivers come in to change the play. And Boomer takes a timeout to stop the clock.
Charlie, here is part of the problem with the no huddle, with all the creation, with the speed up the offense, is that you get up there and if you see a defense that you don't like, there's nothing you can do about it. Now he starts shouting, and you got a wide receiver that's so far out he can't hear him.
And now for an update in the National Football League, let's go to New York and Bob Costas. Bob?
Charlie, at Arrowhead today, a huge day for Warren Moon. 3 more touchdown passes in the Chiefs' Houston's 27-10 win over the Chiefs. He's got 32 to lead the league, but look at the yardage. 527. Second all-time for a single game, only to Norm Van Brocklin. And the Oilers beat the Chiefs 27-10.
Thank you, Bob. Should we tell him?
Nah, let's not.
Bob.
We scooped you, Ben.
Todd had that scoop earlier. He was chasing. Todd was all over the press box checking the old numbers. As the game was progressing, he had an update on Warren Moon.
Oh, man, I knew that one. I got a kick out of that.
3rd and 9, 6 in the secondary. Here's a direct snap. And James Brooks is stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Bob Golick.
Golick and Townsend didn't get fooled by that at all. Bob Golick is actually having a pretty good season. 4 sacks for a nose guard, and he also leads the team in tackles with 72.
And also is a brand new father. Their first child, Jim and Catherine, born this past week. He said, you know, I was Santa Claus at a children's hospital this week, and all of a sudden I looked at all the kids in the hospital with a different perspective now that I have a little baby daughter.
I'll bet. And I can almost guarantee you that she will never, ever play any nose tackle.
Fumble! And Cincinnati has the ball. I believe it was Mitchell Price. Yes, number 32, Mitchell Price, who recovers the fumble.
Well, there's Tim Brown. He's frustrated. Right after we've been talking about how great he's been playing, he comes up and makes the right decision. You don't want to let this ball bounce and give up field position, but right there he's running before he has it, goes right through his arms. And that's a terrific recovery right there by Price, one-handing it right there, getting it away from the Raiders. Good play by Mitchell Price, a rookie from Tulane.
So the ball is on the Raider 43-yard line, first down. Play action fake. Boomer throws. It is high. It is incomplete. Jim Riggs, the intended receiver. Jerry Robinson had the coverage. It'll be second down.
That's twice now that Jim Riggs is unable to come up with a ball. That was a nice hit by Jerry Robinson, but still that's catchable.
Now, we have seen Boomer for a quarter and a half. I'm surprised that he's rolling out as much. He is, everybody should know by now, has been bothered by the groin pull. Did not practice. Told us yesterday when they worked out here, said, this is my team. I will start. We've got a long way to go. Here's Brooks on the handoff, and he goes out of bounds. How does Boomer look to you as far as agility is concerned?
He looks fine to me. I tell you, there's a lot to be said for those endorphins when they kick in, man. Just ask any marathon runner or triathlete. All of a sudden, your mind goes blank and your body just goes onto a different level. I mean, he doesn't look like he's hurting at all. Once again, another good play there by Jerry Robinson, stringing the play out. Doesn't give James Brooks any running room. As you can see right there, 6 rushes for 4 yards. The Raiders are doing a good job of stuffing the run here.
Third and 9. And long jumps. He's pointing. He is pointing at Boomer.
False start. False start. Number 7.
It may be the head bob.
At Boomer, look at the look on his face. He's like, give me a break. Take a look at Boomer Esiason, though. This is what he's trying to do. He knows that both Townsend and Long do this. Take a look at his head. Is his head bobbing? Take a look. Watch what it does. Right there. Look at the flex of the hip.
It's not his head. It's his rear that started to move.
The flex of his hip, I tell you what, Jim Tunney had to have bionic eyes to see that one.
And that was in slow motion. Can we run that back at regular speed just to see how quickly he had to pick that up? Normal speed.
We get a chance here. Watch it. Watch the buttocks. It moves back just a little bit. I don't know about that.
Boy,
I tell you what.
That's a close one. He did it. There's no question. Well, that's really a borderline call, but they called it. Third down and 14. Boomer has room for the first down. He's got it, and he goes out of. Now he's limping. Now you can see. Now you can see it bother him for the first time visually as he picks up the first down.
Well, and that's strange, too, because, the groin injury, the problem there on that 21-yard gain is inevitably it's your cutting that you can't do. Greg Townsend cuts inside on a loop, and they push Howie inside. That eliminates contain, and Boomer Esiason has a lot of room. Right there, you can't see it. Now, let's see when he makes the cut here. Cuts to the outside. Let's see when he starts to limp. Right there when he starts to slow down, put on the brakes. Putting on the brakes is obviously causing him a little bit of pain, not running straight ahead.
And Boomer has come out, and Eric Wilhelm has replaced him here in this series.
Oh, look at that. Boy, oh boy.
Play action fake. And then a keeper on a quarterback draw to the 24-yard line.
Well, Eric Wilhelm, the second-year quarterback out of Oregon State, he wanted to make the most of his one play. Doggone it. He says, I'm coming in there and I'm running that sucker. Boomer, I think he was just trying to get his win. What do you think?
I think you're right. Interesting enough, he had to jog all the way to the other side of the field, then he had to jog back to the middle of the field just to get back in the ballgame.
And he can't complain about the smog today either.
Oh, no. It's a gorgeous day.
Must be the altitude. What are we, 200 feet above sea level?
The tight end in motion, and here's the give to Baum. Maybe 4 yards. That's going to be about it. It'll be third down as Howie Long makes the tackle. Time remaining first half. 5:50 and counting. Raiders on top by 7, 14-7.
Where's Icky?
Icky was in just for one series that we picked him up. Sam signaling the 3 fingers up.
3 fingers usually indicates the 3 wideouts. That's what they have in. Actually, they have 4 wideouts here. This is what they call, I believe, their Tiger Series. Oh, like I want to get into that argument, right? What do I know about terminology?
Barber in motion to give off inside to Brooks. And he's going to pick up the first down to the 15-yard line. Tom Benson with the tackle.
That's a great call. Inevitably, when you bring your full wide receivers out, the softest part of the defense becomes the middle, because you have to spread your safeties deep and you bring 4 corners out away. And that only leaves 5 people in the box, as Warren Moon explained to us one day. The trap play to James Brooks enables them to get the first down because they don't have a middle linebacker.
And the ball at the 15, first down. Cincinnati will take a lot of time. They are using the clock right now. They use it from the kickoff of the ballgame. They want to take plays away from the Raiders. Play action fake. Boomer has pressure, steps away, and he throws into the end zone, and it is intercepted. Intercepted in the end zone by Terry McDaniel.
And that reaction says it all. He is really angry with himself. He had a little pressure. He was flushed out, but he threw that right in a sea of people. He got away with it once earlier when he had the touchdown to McGee, but this time he pays the price for an ill-advised pass. Good job here by Scott Davis flushing him out, and you can see Bob Golick trying to get him, but right there, where's he throwing him? Eddie Anderson looks like he's going to get it, and a nice play there by Terry McDaniel. He gets his feet down for the touchback.
They are close, but apparently they do stay in the end zone. We've got a timeout back. Terry McDaniel with his 3rd interception of the season, and the Raiders, with the touchback, have a first down at the 20-yard line. That, by the way, today, Boomer suffered 2 interceptions by the Raiders. Ricky Ellison got the first one on a tip ball. First time that he has ever been intercepted by the Raiders. 3 previous ball games, he had no interception.
Charlie, interestingly enough, that gives him 20 for the season. That is the most that he has ever had in the National Football League. That's going to be something I wish he wishes he could forget now.
Marcus Allen a couple of yards over the right side. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Max Montoya, formerly with the Bengals, now the starting guard with the Raiders. When we talked to him yesterday, he still has his restaurant back there, and the most popular dish, the Montoya plate, roasted carnitas.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it wouldn't make much sense to have the Steve Wisniewski plate, would it?
When you come to Cincinnati, eat at Montoya's and bring pesos.
You know what got me is he got his tortillas from Chicago.
That's right.
I never figured Chicago was the tortilla capital of the United States.
Marcus and Bo are in the backfield at the same time, and they are split. Marcus, the ball carrier. Was Bo the lead blocker? How did he do?
Not too good. That's not his strong suit. As Art Shell says, they want these guys to run, not block, and Bo shows why he should be running, not blocking.
And this will give you an opportunity to check up on all the final scores in the early ball game. Here we have 3:14 and counting time remaining in the first half. The Raiders on top by 7, a score of 14-7.
I was going to say, Charlie, that Miami victory now makes that game that much bigger come Buffalo this weekend. Definitely the game of the year in the AFC.
3rd down and 6, straight over the middle, and it is Tim Brown. Tim Brown, who has scored 2 touchdowns in the ballgame. 3 receptions, 69 yards. This one good for 20.
Well, I don't know if that necessarily atones for the dropped punt, but he's certainly feeling good about the way things are going his way today. Once again, it's the in route. You get a chance to see they're coming up with a blitz. Both Francis and Bussey comes in, which means single coverage by Wilcox on Timmy Brown. And as I mentioned before, Solomon Wilcox is a safety. He's not a corner. He's not used to having people man for man.
And when you see the other look at Tim Brown on our isolated look, and then take a look at the wide receivers in this shot, you can see that the Raiders have their pants above the knee. We'll talk about that. Raiders. And this pass is complete to Willie Goff. And Goff also has the silver pass above the knee. 17 yards on the play. They think it makes them faster. It doesn't. Willie tell me it doesn't grab the knee. And we will explore that when we come back as we have the 2-minute warning.
And a first down at the 38.
As we come back, another look at the game pants of the wide receivers, of the speed merchants.
Not just the wide receivers, Charlie. Marcus Allen wears his pants that way, too. And believe me, it's one of those things that's psychological. I've actually seen players, and of course I did it myself. I'd take my shoe off and put it on that electronic scale to see how much it weighed. They really believe that the pants that way give them that little bit of edge flexibility-wise. And of course, in my case, it helped me go from, a day to a half day in my 40
We checked it with the calendar. Also, they do get letters from the league office because they're supposed to be down over the kneecap, and they file them, and life goes on. It's a first down at the 38-yard line. Here's Marcus on a sweep to the right, and he is in trouble. Turns back, and he is going to lose
Marcus Allen, the buck here.
6, maybe 7 yards as he'll go back to the 44-yard line as Leon White makes the play for the Bengals.
I can't get in the head of Terry Robisky, but you figure that a year ago at this time, Bo Jackson ran roughshod over the Cincinnati Bengals, and except for that one series where he had 2 or 3 carries, Bo Jackson has been a real non-factor in this first half.
Coming up at halftime, you'll be entertained by the Los Altos High School.
Terry Robisky, the tight end coach, as well as the offensive coordinator for Los Angeles Raiders, integrally involved in the play calling.
Pass is complete. A flag is down. Ethan Horton, the tight end, has it. He goes to the 20-yard line.
This is going to be interesting. Either they're going to call defensive holding or they're going to call Ethan Horton for pushing off on Leon White.
The call is against Cincinnati. The play went for 24 yards.
As if I haven't driven you crazy by now mentioning that I played this position.
Holding. Defense, number 51. Penalty is declined. It'll be first down.
Inevitably in the middle of the field, you're going to have this kind of collision between the tight end and whoever is covering him. In this case, Leon White, man for man. He grabs him at the line of scrimmage. You can see right there, there's a little bit of a hold, and he just runs a quick route right there. There's no way that he should be able to stay with him man for man. A great coverage for a tight end there. Man for man with the outside backer. The tight end should win that one almost every time.
First down at the 20 is Marcus Allen, shut off on the right side, and he's going to lose a yard. I've got to thought what you said about Bo. Remember when we talked with Art Shell yesterday, and he said in the Denver game, because we only had 3 series in the first half, Bo did not get in the ball game till the waning seconds of the first half, and he was really upset at halftime. He said, I'm ready to run over somebody, so maybe he is not letting him play that much, so when he comes out the second half, he may be ready to run over somebody. Just a thought. We'll be back in a moment.
Los Angeles area children will now enjoy.
Bo Jackson so far has rushed for 18 yards in 4 carries, and an injury report for Cincinnati. Anthony Munoz will not return, is a report that we have just received.
Well, that's really going to hurt them. As we mentioned, the 9-time Pro Bowler, and by many consensus, many think this man might be the greatest offensive lineman to ever play the game. That's going to be a traumatic loss for the Bengals.
Second down. Schrader to Marcus as he hangs it up. It is incomplete. And a nice Francis with the coverage, but what was wrong with the pass? There was something wrong with the pictures. He just had to wait too long on it.
Well, he had a little bit of a rush, but he throws off his back foot. Take a look here. You'll see from the outside, you'll see the rush coming here. You can see Leon White cuts in there, and he pressures him right here, as well as Grant, to throw from his back foot and float the ball a little bit. If he'd have been able to drill it, he could have had Marcus in the end zone because Marcus had him beat by 2 steps. But give Francis credit. He came back and made the play.
Third down. Receivers. Schrader goes underneath the coverage and short of Horton, and it'll be 4th down.
Once again off the back foot. It was almost as if there was phantom rushers there. He felt some pressure that really wasn't there. He had plenty of time to get Ethan Horton the ball, but he just he needed to step up there and deliver, and instead he throws off his back foot, something that Joe Namath made popular, but very few people can do it because they don't have that kind of arm strength.
Jeff Jager with a field goal attempt. He'll be kicking from the 29, an attempt of 39 yards. Well within his range of 50 yards. And floated as if it wanted to stay out, but it just came back in. And so a 39-yard field goal. We'll be back in a moment. Seconds left to go in the first half. This is Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. The Raiders leading Cincinnati by 10. In case you just joined us or in case you haven't been following the Bengals, this particular week, Sam White's the head coach. Boomer Esiason with a pulled groin muscle has played. Has been pretty effective in the first half. Stanford Jennings and Mitchell Price are the return men. As Jeff Jager will be kicking off.
Mitchell Price, Stanford Jennings back for receiver.
Boomer staying loose. A sun-drenched Southern California afternoon. And Jennings will down it in the end zone. Will take the touchback and will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Be sure to join NBC Sports next Sunday for more great football action. Next Saturday, hold it. We'll start with Saturday NFL Live, then we'll have the Raiders and the Minnesota Vikings, and Ahmad Rashad in NFL Live will visit his old haunts, the Vikings, and see what it's really been a roller coaster year for Minnesota. And there's a look down at lineup on Sunday. And Brooks working his way for 4 yards to the 24. It'll be second down and 6 as Jerry Robinson there to bring James down.
Second and 6 from the 24.
And Cincinnati may just settle for the countdown to the end of the first half.
The Raiders definitely have no problem with that, being up by 10.
They'll take one more opportunity. Brooks finds a little bit of running room. He'll go out to the 30-yard line, which could well pick up the first down. But as he does, time will run out. Robinson again with the tackle. And it is halftime here in the Coliseum in Los Angeles with the score, the Raiders 17 and Cincinnati 7. And we'll be back in just a moment.
I'm tired of us Sinners getting no recognition. I played 13 seasons in front of millions of fans, made All-Pro twice, and started in 3 Super Bowls. Yet no one knows who I am. Hey, even if I'm not well known, at least my beer is. Miller Lite. An All-Pro Sinner doesn't want some watered-down version of a regular beer. I want the less filling beer that tastes great.
Excuse me.
Let me get that.
Hey, aren't you Randy Cross?
It's well known. When it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
Welcome back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles as we come to the end of halftime. Raiders leading by 10. I'm Charlie Jones along with Todd Christensen. An interesting comparison the first half. First, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, Boomer Esiason.
Well, we were talking so much about his health, Charlie, that was the big issue as to whether or not he could go. Obviously, that's not a factor anymore. He's fine, but he's had 2 crucial interceptions that have really hurt him.
Now let's take the quarterback situation of the Raiders.
Well, you know, I don't get it, because every time you and I do a game, Jay Schrader plays terrific. I live here in Los Angeles, and I hear how crummy he's doing, and then you and I doing a game. All of a sudden, he's got 2 touchdowns, 160-plus yards. I mean, he's playing great.
No wonder he was smiling at us yesterday at practice. Hey,
Jones and Christensen, I'm going to have a great game.
Yeah. But he is, and we expected, though, the Raiders to run the ball, just to run right at the Bengals, and Sam White also told us that's what they expected.
I would anticipate that the first series that the Raiders get offensively that you're going to see Bo Jackson.
Right. Let's look at the comparison of the 2 quarterbacks, give you an idea of what has taken place here in the first half.
Well, early on, you can see the numbers that Esiason started out well with the big touchdown to McGee, but since that time, you see the 2 interceptions. On the other side, you see Jay Schrader, 8 for 15, 156 yards and 2 touchdowns to Tim Brown, having a very effective game passing the football.
Stanford Jennings and Mitchell Price are the deep backs. Jeff Jager will be kicking off for the Raiders, and the second half is underway. Jennings on the return, and he is out out across the 40-yard line to the 42-yard line. So Cincinnati will start with excellent field position following that 32-yard kickoff return.
You know, Charlie, Stanford Jennings does not play that much for the Cincinnati Bengals, but I think he has definitely prolonged his career with that 90-yard touchdown return he had in Super Bowl 23 against the San Francisco 49ers. And believe me, there's nothing like starting out on the 42-yard line as opposed to the 22 or the 12.
Cincinnati trailing by 10, having their opportunities in the first half, were not able to capitalize on them. Here's the rookie Harold Green. And again, Ickey Woods bothered by that rib problem. We saw him briefly in the first half. Not seen a lot of him. Greg Townsend with the tackle. Here's a look at Ickey.
That explains why yesterday he was off by himself. I think he's a little disgruntled by the fact that he knew his playing time was going to be limited. And believe me, rib injuries are not pleasant. Coughing, breathing, everything is.
Second and short. And Harold Green again gets a call. He'll be shy of the first down. It's going to be third down and just about one.
Well, Sam Weiss told us that Harold Green would be limited in his playing time, but you know, he's been fairly effective in his running. He's a good hard runner, terrific speed, but again, this might be the most difficult offense in the National Football League to learn because of the complexity of it and because of Sam Weiss and the multiple sets and formations that he puts in and week out.
And also the names are constantly changing.
Exactly.
And here's James Brooks. Sits the tackle at the 50. He's to the 49 and is going to come up short of the first down. Good defensive play, particularly by Ricky Ellison.
I don't understand that. You know, when you have a short yardage situation, why do you go misdirection and why do you go wide when that gives pursuit a chance? Take a look here. You're going to see he's going wide, falling behind the blocker, but the pursuit comes up. Harden does a good job there. He does slip the one tackle, but the pursuit finally catches him there in the form of Eddie Anderson and Ricky Ellison. And from this vantage point, of course, I always guess wrong, but I'll guess it looks to me like they're a little bit short.
I think they are too. Yeah.
I got one.
Hey, length of the football in a little more.
But they're going to go for it. You can see right there, Sam Weiss says, we feel like we have to. One of the points he made to us yesterday is he says the speed factor and the size factor is not in our favor. So if we're to win, we have to take some chances and be a little bit deceptive. And part of taking chances is right here, 4-down territory inside their 50-yard line.
He said a complete speed mismatch. And the Raiders do have a lot of speed. We'll point that out to you in a moment. Fourth down and a punt.
Now, Charlie, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Esiason decides to bob his head or whatever to draw some people off sides, because he got caught last time.
Esiason, a quarterback sneak, and this also is going to be close. And I was thinking the one thing that the Raiders do not have to worry about would be the quarterback sneak, because again, that puts more and more pressure on the groin pull, and Cincinnati has two very difficult games remaining, particularly next week with Houston.
Well, as O.J. Simpson said in NFL Live, they're all important at this point. You can't necessarily gauge and say, okay, well, this one is a little less important. We're going to have the, I mean, you got to go all out. And, this is why they pay these guys these seven-figure salaries. You have to go out there when you're in a little bit of pain, and I know that sounds cliche, but let's face it, the Cincinnati Bengals are very dependent upon the success and prowess of one Boomer Esiason.
And it's the first down by half the length of the football. By the way, congratulations to you on a statement that was made yesterday by George Anderson, the trainer of the Raiders. When I was talking to him, he said one thing about Todd, he was a trainer's delight. You always played hurt. You never complained about that.
Well, of course, that's part of the old axiom, right? No brain, no pain.
Interesting. George also said that.
Oh, sure. Now you have to mention it.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. First down, Cincinnati. Play action fake. Incomplete. Just off of the fingertips.
Eddie Anderson was there in plenty of time to make the play, and he guesses wrong.
Tim McGee.
I was talking with Eddie Anderson yesterday about the fact that, he wants to elevate himself. He wants to be in that Ronnie Lott, Joey Browner category. Look at that right there. A safety cannot wait. He has to attack the ball. He doesn't get the luxury of sitting there like the receiver waiting for the ball to come to him, because right there, McGee actually cuts in front of him, and if he can hold on, there's no free safety left. He's going to go the distance.
And both Eddie Brown and Tim McGee, when we talked, they like the Coliseum. They like this grass.
It's going to prolong your career, although I have noticed today there have been a few people slipping.
2nd and 10. Brooks is in motion. He becomes the lead blocker as Eric Barr carries, and he goes to the 45. Has 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7 as we check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. And as we check the ticker, we have the pushing and shoving match going on.
Eddie Brown and Terry McDaniel are getting into it. Really, Eddie Brown has been kind of silent today. Going into this game, he was the leading receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals, but with only 39 catches. And a lot of this might be the frustration coming out on the part of Eddie Brown that he has been somewhat of a non-factor today, although he does have 9 touchdown receptions. Interesting, Eddie Brown was one of 3 very terrific receivers drafted in 1985. He was drafted ahead of, get this, ahead of Jerry Rice. And I remember Bill Walsh saying that he would have given up his first 3 picks that year to get Eddie Brown. So he goes to Mississippi Valley State and says, well, we'll take a chance on this Rice guy. He might turn out to be pretty good. Also in that draft was Al Toon of the New York Jets. That's an interesting triumvirate of young receivers, and all 3 have made their mark in the National Football League.
So now we settle back down. Cincinnati, they wanted to get a playoff. They wanted to run while the Raiders were making a couple of substitutions. Go with the same personnel. Settle down.
Now, it's interesting. Boomer just counted the defensive backs and looked over to Sam Weish and counted and looked, and he held up 5 fingers. But in reality, there are 6.
3rd down and 7. 6 DBs. Boomer, 5 of 12. Only 1 of his last 6. Has pressure, steps away, sets, throws, diving reception is going to be incomplete, out of bounds. And it was Tim McGee. Now, we promised you, and we deliver. The Hertz 10-minute ticker. Houston over at Kansas City. Pittsburgh wins. Miami down Seattle. Tampa Bay wins. Dallas wins over Phoenix. The Colts over the Jets, and Cleveland over Atlanta. Halftime, Philadelphia by 17. Denver trailing 3-0, now in the 3rd, lead 7-3. Lee Johnson will be kicking to Tim Brown.
San Diego's still very much in the playoff race, Joe.
Not that good a kick, gets a good bounce, a good roll. It'll go to the 5, and it's going to be down at the 5-yard line. And so the Raiders will take over following that 40-yard kick and roll. We'll be back in a moment. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. We are back with 11:09 to go in the 3rd. Raiders on offense for the first time in the 2nd half, and as promised, Bo Jackson is the running back. Interesting, Marcus Allen started out, and Bo went out and kind of grabbed it and said, no, it's fine.
That was interesting. I mean, it's habit for Marcus. He just assumes he's starting, and there it is. In the exact same position where he went the distance last time for 92 yards.
This time they come out throwing, and the pass is complete to Willie Galt. Then they'll have to touch him down, which they will. And again, I'm surprised because they have been so effective running. You figure that they're going to, and Cincinnati's had a problem stopping the run, and yet they continue to throw.
Well, you know what? I need to make a point here about Willie Galt. Right there with that catch, Willie Galt now has 47 catches for 837 yards, both career highs. And I know that when they give up a first-round pick for Willie Galt a couple of years ago, the question was asked as to whether or not this guy was really justifying the pick, because he really struggled when he got here. But now he has actually turned into a go-to receiver for the Raiders.
And here is Bo Jackson. He reverses, comes back, gets a block. Schrader lays a block, misses his man. Bo Jackson breaks clean at the 30. He's to the 50. He's to the 30. He's to the 20. And he slides. No, they're going to mark him down. Just shy. Just shy. And he was caught. And I think even Bo is surprised. Rod Jones caught him. 88 yards.
He is going to be the infamous Rod Jones. He will be the one that's able to tell his kids and his grandkids, I caught Bo Jackson from behind. What a run. Take a look at Jay Schrader right here actually helping out. Jay Schrader throws a little bit of a block right there on Jones. Now watch, Jones is in the trail position the entire way. He's stumbling right there, but now Bo has it. He's at full speed. He comes back to the inside. He's starting to fade now. You can see the Big Bear is getting on his back. He's getting tired. Right there, Jones gets it just before he gets into the end zone. He can't believe it. Look at that looking back right there. When you're running upright like that as he is, as opposed to with the forward lean, you know he's getting tired. Rod Jones forever is going to be able to brag to all his friends, I'm the man that caught Bo Jackson from behind.
And Bo's looking around and says, who got me? Who got me? The Big Bear is on his back?
The Big Bear is on his back. That's a track phrase. You should know that.
I know. I love it, though.
Nice hurdle right there, taking a page out of Willie Galt's book, a former high hurdler. Now right there, he's in full stride. He's at top speed. Now watch as he starts to get more erect. Look at him start to labor. Look at his arms starting to go. He's starting to fade. The headlong dive. Take a look at Jones. I did it. Look at Bo. I can't believe it. How did he do that? In fairness to Bo Jackson, look at this. Oh, my goodness.
It took it all, but he got him. Deja vu. Just about a year ago here, same end of the field. Bo went, what, 92 yards in?
And look at that. He can't believe it either. How did I get caught? Look at him smile. Nice average per carry, huh? Should mention that the Raiders are 6-1 when Bo Jackson goes over 100 yards. This is his third straight 100-yard game. Take a look at this. A December to remember indeed. Bo Jackson had been accused going into this season of the fact that he faded near the end of the season, but he's doing anything but that here in the 12th month of the year.
And here's Bo for the touchdown, and he's knocked away.
Charlie, I noticed that Marcus Allen was in there, and Bo told him to go out. He says, I'm the one that went the yardage. I want the touchdown.
It'll be second down and goal to go.
Now, did you say it was 88 yards?
Yes.
So if he had gone in for the touchdown, it still would not have been a 90-plus run for his third in his career. Oh, okay. So he's going to have to settle for the fact that it's only an 88-yarder.
Game's not over.
Okay. Good point.
Play action fake. Throws it. It is there to Ethan Horton. I think Schrader could have gone. As soon as it faked the ball, everybody went through.
Hey, he's a quarterback. There's no way he wants to run in there. He wants to pad his touchdown pass stats. Of course he's going to go to Ethan Horton. Terrific fake. And take a look. Horton isn't even touched. Everybody knows that Bo's going to get the ball. There's Jason Buck, who's supposed to have him in coverage, but he's a defensive end. There's no way he's going to cover Ethan Horton. Third touchdown pass for Jay Schrader today. And you know what? In the books, it looks like a 60-yarder. It's a touchdown pass.
And for Ethan Horton, his second touchdown of the year. The extra point is there. And the reaction of Jay Schrader as the Raiders go up 24-7.
He's going to run over and say, hey, thanks, Bo. You got us here.
Now, Richard Wood in Mobile. He is the agent, lawyer, manager, man of all seasons for Bo. And are they on the phone? Are they working another deal already?
Right. He says, I want to renegotiate right now. Yeah. He says, no way, babe. You got caught from behind by this youngster right there.
That's right.
I want to say this right now, and I know you're going to say this is using your excuse. Bo Jackson had to carry the football. The other guy could run and pump his arms freely. I know that that's an excuse, but it's true.
Now, with Bo Jackson, that's not supposed to count.
Yeah, I know. You're absolutely right. He is superhuman. Still, you can see that he has a big smile on his face, and he doesn't care.
Fourth longest run in Raider history. And 3 of the 4 are held by Bo Jackson. The other is held by
Clem Daniels? Kenny King. I was there for that one. San Diego, 89-yarder. I'll never forget that.
And here is Stanford Jennings on the return, and he is wrestled down. Elvis Patterson makes the tackle.
I'm going to take right here. You get a chance to see that Ethan Horton, over him is Jason Buck, who's normally a defensive end. He has to have him in coverage. But everybody right here is looking at this guy. And so when Bo Jackson goes in the play action phase, there's absolutely nobody off to the left. Nice little bootleg move here by Schrader. Ethan Horton completely alone. Easy money touchdown. And Charlie's right. Certainly he could have walked in, but don't tell me that those quarterbacks don't want those statistics. They do.
Gets to the 24, gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. Bob Golick with the tackle. About an hour before the ball game, I made a phone call to Paul Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know that his friends all across the country concerned this week when he had that leg problem with a blood clot. He's fine. Said the 48 hours were a little kind of dicey, but they dissolved the clot, and he's up and about and having fun. Has been to the office a few times, out doing some Christmas shopping, some decorations today, and he's watching the ball game.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. 82 years young.
Oh, yeah.
And what a contribution this man has made to the National Football League.
Pass far side is complete to Tim McGee, and he is bumped out of bounds by Terry McDaniel. Also talked to his wife, Mary. We'll see him a Merry Christmas, and we'll see him in La Jolla as soon as the season is over. Right now, then, let's check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. And we may not get it in. When you cover Cincinnati, then you look out for quick replays and to get the tickers in whenever you can. And so we'll wait a play.
Now the officials call timeout. I wonder why.
Well, he came in and he reset the football, or remarked the football. And Jim Tunney, the referee. You read lips. Is he chewing gum or is he saying something?
Something about his Domino's order. I don't know.
And while we're working that, here is the Hertz current 10-minute ticker. Philadelphia by Denver now stepping away from San Diego. Saw Denver last week. They did look good against Kansas City, although they did lose. San Diego feeling if they won the last 3 that they could still make the playoff. And meanwhile, we wait.
Brain trust of the Raiders there.
And Sam White says, I don't know what's happening either.
Upon review, the play stands as called first down.
And we're reviewing the play.
Tim McGee right here, close to the sidelines. You can see 1-2, left, right. Easy money.
And it is a first down. And Boomer out the wide receiver again. And it is almost intercepted. Let's take another look at that.
Now, what do you guess the Boomer's going to come back to the huddle and say what receivers have said to him countlessly throughout his career? I was open.
I was open. I was open. Oh, yes.
Boomer's to the far right of your screen. You see coming out again. I guess they're going to go with the option pass, but of course the cornerbacks aren't fooled. And look at this. This is what safeties and everybody dream of. Look at that pop-up. Both McDaniel and Anderson are thinking, boy, I'm going to get some cheap stats here, but they weren't able to come down with the interception.
Lynn James, the rookie receiver from Arizona State, on the throwing end. Now Brooks moves over. Pass is complete to Brooks, and he's got the first down at the Raider 46-yard line where Eddie Anderson makes the tackle.
Earlier in the game, I had mentioned the fact that they were trying to isolate James Brooks on a linebacker, but there the Raiders were in a zone defense. And Brooks does a good job of finding the seam there in the middle. 21-yard gain.
We're just past the midway mark in the third quarter. And Brooks' first reception of the ball game. McGee comes down out of bounds, so it'll be second down and 10. Now for an update, let's go to New York and Bob Costas. Bob?
Charlie, the Broncos are the first team ever to lose as many as 10 games in a season following a Super Bowl appearance. But is this the day the losing streak ends? Michael Young makes the catch. The flag was on the Chargers. Touchdown counts. 14-3. Does Rich Goins get off the billboard?
Yeah, baby!
Perhaps. Back to you, Charlie.
The whole world is anticipating the return of Rich Goins to Mother Earth. And right now it is Eric Ball, and he has returned to Mother Earth by Scott Davis.
But something tells me that the novelty of what is occurring to Rich Goins, I think there are a lot of sadistic people out there going, go Chargers. I want to see that guy stay up there for an entire offseason.
Michael Young with the reception. He had an excellent touchdown reception against Kansas, and he's become, in the last 3 weeks, the hot receiver for John Elway.
Well, they've needed a lot of help there. They've had some injury factor, and I think that Elway needs some more go-to people. He hasn't had this year the guy that he can really count on consistently.
3rd and 9. Boomer over the head of James Brooks.
Oh, I bet he wishes he had that one.
Yeah.
James Brooks wide open in the flat. Plenty of running room.
Now, one of the problems, let me quickly get this in. One of the problems that Boomer may be having, when you look at the field and you look the way the shadows are, an absolutely clear day, when he throws to this side, he's coming up, he's looking into the sun.
Normally, I'd say that's an excuse, but you're absolutely right. It is difficult. And especially as a left-hander throwing across his body to the right side of the field. And although James Brooks is multi-talented, at 5'9", he's not the ideal downfield receiver to see.
Lee Johnson to kick, Tim Brown the return man.
Going to fake.
Of course.
They snapped it directly to Stanford Jennings, Charlie, and the Raiders absolutely were not fooled. Good job by special teams coach Steve Ortmeyer in preparing his team. What they are in is what is called a safe. You can see the snap right there to Jennings in the middle, and look at that, absolutely nobody is fooled. Good job there by both Wallace and Dan Land in stuffing the play, and Ricky Hundley and Patterson make the tackle. Raider ball when we be...
No one can see you now.
Hey, bet weak.
6:12 time remaining, and let's check the all-time receiver list for the Raiders as Marcus Allen was on the scoreboard for everybody to see. Marcus Allen has moved into 4th, just behind my broadcast partner, Todd Christensen.
Just behind? 59 catches. What's just behind?
Well, I'm trying to help you all that I can.
Hey, I'm just grateful they spelled the last name right, okay? That's all I care about. They spelled the name right. My mom's happy.
Incomplete. When we were talking with Art Shell yesterday, he told us a basketball story about you. You were playing where, up in Auburn, California, in the off-season basketball game, and you scored 39 points, and nobody knows it, and Shell is out there as the point guard? The ball handler?
Absolutely the largest point guard I've ever seen. 6'5.5", and at that time, even though he would admit it, 300 plus, he played at about 308, 310. Yeah, he was some kind of point guard. And let me tell you something. In my entire time ever playing basketball with him, I never saw a single person draw the charge.
And here is Marcus after the 50-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 5. And also, he pointed out that after the game, you scored all these points, and nobody knew that I was even there. They weren't paying any attention. And he said, Todd.
Says, Todd, you have to learn the art of diplomacy. They're not coming here to see you score points. And of course, at the time, I was a 3rd-string tight end that nobody had ever heard of, and I thought that was my way to make a mark. You know, if I could score a lot of points against the local fire department. Yeah.
3rd down and 5.
Does this mean Bo's tired that they brought Marcus back in for this series? I mean, he's had a whole 5 carries.
Well, he's got his 100 yards.
Oh, good point. All right.
Incomplete. And it will be 4th down. Horton, the intended receiver.
Charlie, the Raiders have to be careful here. There's a penalty at holding that I'm sure that the Bengals are going to decline. The Raiders have to be careful here that, that they just don't take it for granted. Obviously, that was a play of desperation there for the Bengals to go for it on 4th down. But instead of taking advantage of the field position now, the Raiders quickly go 3 plays and out. You get a chance to see that they're putting the ice on Boomer, which
that indicates that he's not coming back.
That would seem to indicate that we are going to see Eric Wilhelm, yeah. Either that or that's a uniform affectation that you and I are not familiar with, and I don't think that's what it is.
Jeff Gossett will be kicking. Mitchell Price is the return man. We're moving on the 5-minute mark, time remaining in the 3rd quarter. And it goes out of bounds around the 22 or the 23-yard line. 27 yards on the kick. When we come back, number 4, Eric Wilhelm will be the quarterback for the Bengals.
Football.
Golf.
No. Football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf.
Yeah!
We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this is Davis teeing it up. Here's the drive. It is blocked! Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste with less filling, you can combine anything. Oh, he's got daylight going for the green. Here's the putt. There's the blitz. It's good! Yeah!
Top hole.
good beer. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
Boomer Esiason is out of the ball game. Has ice now taped onto that groin pull that he's been suffering this past week. Eric Wilhelm is in. Wilhelm has never started an NFL game. Last year here against the Raiders, he came in when Boomer Esiason had that bruised lung. He completed 15 to 36 for 200 yards. Looked pretty good, but the Raiders went on to handily defeat the Bengals last year.
Thought it was interesting, too, to follow up on that story that when he came in, Howie Long looked across from the line at him and said, "Oh, what, they're bringing in the paper boy?"
Yes.
And Eric Wilhelm responded by saying, "Hey, go eat some more Campbell's Chunky Soup, buddy."
Is that it?
Yeah, he did.
Really? Wow. A lot of tough talk across the line. Now they will run the exact same offense with Wilhelm as they run with Esiason. There'll be no changes. They do not make any changes. And he breaks clean for the first down, crosses the 40 out to the 43-yard line. And now for an update, let's go to New York and Bob Costas. Bob?
Charlie, here's the play you talked about. 92 yards last year. Actually, about 13 months ago, November of 1989, same field, same two teams, only this time he never changed direction. He just turned the corner and blazed down the sidelines, 92 yards for a touchdown. Today, 88 yards, actually in many ways a better run, but no TD as they stopped him at the 1.
And it was Rod Jones who stopped him at the 1, and he caught him. And here is Brooks, a straight shot up the middle. And he goes to the 47-yard line. Before Bob Costas gets through, because I know that they're listening into the game in New York, Todd brought up, while we were away in commercial, a question. We do not have the answer here, so you always hate to propose a question. You do have an answer?
Yeah, I think I do now.
Well, wait a minute. Let's propose the question, and if you got an answer, let's wait and let everybody share in it. Numbers of players. What other quarterback in the National Football League has worn number 4? A quarterback that has worn number 4. To the 49. Of course, if you are a Chicago Bear fan, then you have an answer immediately. We're sorry about that, about Harbaugh, of course. And then it was Steve Fuller. Did he also? Is that right? Dennis Mnuchin.
And also wore that with the Chicago Bears.
Yes. So it wasn't as good a question as we once thought that it was. Steve Walsh
for New Orleans.
For New Orleans. Boy, is there no end to answers? That was it.
Boy, I tell you what, our crack staff, they cannot be stopped.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry we even brought it up.
Okay, well, what about 3.5, you guys? Let's see you get that one, huh?
Third down. Eric Ball played his collegiate ball at UCLA. Ricky Ellison makes the tackle, and of course you would say UCLA. Naturally, Eric Ball has played here, but the only time he would have played in the Coliseum was when they played USC.
It's not hard to believe after all those years. You just assumed that SC UCLA meant the LA Coliseum.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I mean, now it means Pasadena, which is strange. It's fourth down, but as witnessed by the last two times when they both went for it and then went on a fake punch, you'd have to think that Cincinnati is going for it here, and they are.
1:40 and counting, time remaining as we take a quick look at the 10-minute ticker. We're in the third quarter.
First time we've seen Cincinnati in their 3 tight end offense.
Play action fake. The pass is complete right at the first down. Good continuing effort by Eric Caddis. And he leaned for the first down.
Nobody was with Eddie Brown when he went in motion. That could have been interesting if he'd have taken a chance up top. Eddie Brown went in motion, and they expected Eddie Anderson to come completely across the field and cover him. But Wilhelm went with a safe pass, and Harden actually makes an almost prevents him, but as you mentioned, Caddis with the big body stretches forward to get the first down for the Bengals.
The ball at the Raider 46-yard line. 1 minute, time remaining in the third. And he will go to the 44, so he's got a couple. And it is 2nd down and 8 as Jerry Robinson is there to bring him down.
I think this would be a good time for the Cincinnati Bengals to give Wilhelm some confidence here. Give him a chance to throw the ball. Once again, another injured player, Bruce Reimers, I believe it is, down. They've been very unlucky with their offensive linemen today, haven't they?
Really have.
Bengal was injured on the play.
Next Saturday, it's a special afternoon of great NFL action beginning at 3:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. Bob Costas, Will McDonough, O.J. Simpson take you in and around the NFL. Plus, former Viking great Ahmad Rashad goes back to his old stomping grounds, and he will examine the Minnesota Vikings roller coaster season. And then it's game time. The Raiders travel to the Metrodome to face the rejuvenated Minnesota Vikings, although the Vikings they weren't so rejuvenated today, were they? No. Todd said no, not today. And then on Sunday, this is the lineup of NFL Live. Miami, Buffalo, Houston, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, New England, the Jets, Kansas City, San Diego, Houston, Cincinnati. It's all going to come down in reality. We thought it would be the last 3 weeks, and now that will go by the boards today, it'll be the last 2 weeks. Cincinnati will host Houston and Cleveland, and the Raiders at Minnesota, then hosting San Diego. And the standings in the AFC Central look like this, and that is current. And so the way things are going right now, it looks as if Houston and Pittsburgh will be tied for the lead after today.
Interesting fodder for the press will be the fact that earlier in the season, you know, we had this big thing about the Cincinnati Reds and the baseball and how they had to switch. That originally this upcoming game here on the 23rd was supposed to be in the Astrodome. And of course they made accommodations. I was told by the public relations people there at Houston that they said they're more than willing to keep it because they could still do it. But they claimed that the Cincinnati people said no, that they had to change it. Now that's turned out to be a really pivotal decision here down the stretch.
On the reverse Barber, and he is in big trouble as Howie Long just reaches out with that left hand and pulls it down.
Smart football by Howie Long. Didn't take himself out of position, did a good job of doing what he's supposed to do, keep contained, and he makes the big play for the Raiders.
That is the end of the third quarter, and we'll be back after these messages from your local station. There to wear it that way. I think I would have liked it.
Yeah, it's not just a matter of the fact that this is a good-looking guy. He's playing, too, as we mentioned earlier. 8 sacks on the season, playing some good football, Scott Davis.
Wilhelm throws, passes complete to Lynn James. Tom Benson with the tackle at the 45-yard line. But it's not going to be enough, and it'll be 4th down.
Once again, Howie Long in the backfield chasing down Eric Wilhelm, forcing him to throw short. He needed more yardage than that. Secondary, the Raiders doing a good job playing conservatively, not giving up the big play.
Dennis Munition does it again in the third quarter. Cincinnati had the ball for 11 minutes and 46 seconds, and the Raiders scored the only touchdown.
Well, that 88-yard dash took how long? 10, 11 seconds?
Johnson kicking to Tim Brown. And it will go into the end zone for the automatic touchback. And we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Raiders at the 20-yard line.
Tonight on NBC, Ferris Bueller followed by Saved by the Bell. Then NBC presents the blockbuster movie that started it all, Back to the Future, starring Michael J. Fox, in a special episode of the NBC hit comedy Parenthood, starring Ed Begley Jr. That's all tonight here on NBC.
That's a fun show.
Raiders go to work at their own 20-yard line. 24-7. And right now in the West, it looks as if the Raiders will be on top with a 10-4 record. Kansas City will drop to a 9-5. Seattle to a 7-7. Right now, San Diego is losing. They'll be 6-8. Denver will be 4-10. That's just a prognostication of what may happen after this game is over. And here is Bo Jackson to the outside. And he is brought down. Rod Jones, his nemesis again. Jones, I've got your number 34. You're
exactly right. Boy, oh boy.
Second and 3.
Rod Jones has got to say to himself, yeah, maybe we're behind, but boy, I'm going to have something to tell my kids and grandkids. Nice stiff arm there on Francis, cutting to the outside, and now Bo has to question his speed a little bit here. He's saying to himself, man, I don't think anybody could ever catch me. Now this Rod Jones character, man, he owns me. What's the deal?
Well, it's all in the name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rods are fast guys, all right.
That's right. And it's second down. And stepping and making contact was David Grant.
I would definitely call this offense for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Encroachment, 98. Defense.
Encroachment is moving across the neutral zone and making contact prior to the snap of the ball. And it'll be a first down.
They're definitely in what I would call a running mode. Get a chance to look, you'll see definitely nobody moved there. Left tackle now replacing Rory Graves is Bruce Wilkerson, who was slated at the beginning of the season to be the starter at right tackle. But Steve Wright, the right tackle for the Los Angeles Raiders, has played so effectively, shutting out such people like Richard Dent and Bruce Smith, but they can't get him out. So now it's a chance to give Bruce Wilkerson some playing time, as well as now right guard Todd Heath, number 64.
And here is Bo, a straight shot up the middle, and he is met by David Fulcher.
David Fulcher on the tackle.
Santa Claus is a Raider. Raider Claus? Do you know him?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. The guy stiffed me last Christmas.
Raider Claus. Well, you weren't a good little boy.
I guess not.
Hey. Rudolph, everybody is here.
I tell you what. She does have a very shiny nose. Look at that. Football have been very, very good to me.
Second and 6.
Second down. And Steve Smith, the lead blocker, is Bo Jackson. And so we can update the numbers on Bo Jackson, his average per carry, because they just dropped. He was averaging over 16 yards a carry in this ball game, but that short yardage he had was going to drop him down just a little. We'll have that number for you officially. It's still an awesome number. There it is.
Well, if you count the fact that in the Miami game, he had, I believe, 17 carries for 99 yards. You know, that's pretty close to a 100-yard game, but now that's 3 straight 100-yard games. 14.5 yards per carry.
Yes.
Wow. It certainly helps to have that one that went for 88, though, doesn't it?
That does help the average. They're down at 3. Marcus Allen out to the 43-yard line, and he will pick up the first down. And for the second time in the ball game, we've had a little pushing and shoving contest. 11:13 time remaining in the fourth quarter. The Raiders up 24-7. And I imagine the Raiders here will just work on the clock.
Sometime after that 88-yard run and that fake punt, which went awry, the energy of the game has dissipated somewhat. But give credit to the Raiders here in taking the time off the clock. Right here, they want to show how physical they are. They have their 2 tight ends set. They have their big people in. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is they're trying to run. You can see Jay Schrader right there looking at the play clock, letting it run down. Let them do whatever they can to take it off the clock right there.
And again, he has that problem looking right into the sun. You can tell from the shadow. And here's Marcus Allen to the 46-yard line. It'll be second down and 7, an opportunity to take a look at all of the games today. Houston with that big victory over Kansas City in Kansas City. Pittsburgh, they stay in the race. Miami, of course, they're right amongst them, and they'll be going against Buffalo next week. Boy, what a ball game that. Boy, I hope Kelly is all right. I hope that he is all right in the playoffs to go ahead and finish. He is such a great quarterback. He's having such a super year. They need him.
He seemed to indicate the fact that, that if they can get the bye, if they can win next Sunday, that he says that he'll be back because that'll give him that extra week.
He feels he can make the playoffs if they're not in the wild card. Then he'd have to miss the wild card game.
My experience is with a sprained medial collateral ligament, which is what they say he has. If it is not a grade 3 sprain, which means to be operated on, but then 4 weeks would indeed be plenty of time for him to get healthy.
That is. The Steve Smith with that last carry to the 50, that is enough time. And now, of course, I think the recovery time has been, because, the things that they do in sports medicine now are so far advanced in what they were doing, 15 and 20 years ago. It's hard to realize that they can compress time like that, but in reality, they can.
I thought it interesting, too, that in the very unofficial poll that Will McDonough had at the top of the show on NFL Live, that they went to the 14 head coaches. 8 of them said that the league's MVP, at least the AFC, should indeed be Jim Kelly, which says a lot about what he's been doing for that organization.
For the Raiders, a balanced attack. 163 yards rushing, 163 yards passing. With just over 9 minutes to go in the ballgame. And here is Marcus Allen. And he goes to the 41-yard line and has the first down.
Bruce Wilkinson hasn't played for a while. And sure enough, he's getting into it out there with Bernard Clark, the rookie middle linebacker who you might recall from his Orange Bowl success days there down there in Miami. I can't say enough about Steve Smith. We addressed him earlier. He threw the key block, enabling Marcus Allen to get downfield. But to be able to do that time in and time out. You can see, look at that. Oh, gosh. Taking a big, deep breath. Man, all these guys get all these yards, all this attention.
All the reruns.
They go to the banquets. They get the commercials. I get the headaches. Believe me, a player like that around the league, you see people like that. Earl Campbell would not have been as good without a Tim Wilson. Certainly you can say that Walter Payton would give credit to people like Roland Harper, Matt Suey, people that are in front of him right now. Maurice Carthen, who does an outstanding job for the New York Giants in that capacity, and certainly here for the Los Angeles Raiders, a gentleman named Frank Hawkins was very effective in that role, as now Steve Smith is.
Now, you saw during that momentary timeout that the referee, Jim Tunney, he's stepping into both huddles. He was settling everybody down. Does not want to let this ball game get away in any way, shape, or form. And so he's just kind of reorganizing everybody, passing the word, and then we'll get back to playing football. And here's the man we were talking about, Steve Smith. So he has an opportunity, at least in this ball game for a while now, to pick up some yardage.
And Marcus Allen threw a pretty good block out there on Leon White, enabling him to get some yardage.
That is the time remaining. Let's take a look at the AFC East standings. And there they are, Buffalo 12-2, Miami 11-3, followed by Indianapolis Jets and New England. And, of course, Buffalo and Miami, the big one, next weekend here on NBC. And it'll all start on Sunday with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern Time. But that's the big one. Miami, but Houston, Cincinnati is also big. As we come down to the wire, a lot of really good ball games. And whistle sound, flags come down. Steve Smith is the ball carrier. Of course, we like to think that the Kansas City-San Diego game is very big, and it is.
Ball start.
Really is.
68 offense. It's still second down.
If San Diego can come back on Denver, and if somehow be 7-7, they would still be in the playoff hunt.
And Kansas City still, they're going to be now. They will now be chasing the Raiders if Los Angeles goes on to win here.
They definitely have a tough road to hoe. Have to win in San Diego, and then they end their season in Chicago. It's tough.
Yes, it is. This is only the second penalty against Los Angeles. Steve Smith, by the way, rushing. Number 35 for the Raiders, 5 carries, 20 yards.
You saw just earlier, you saw Marcus Allen screaming at the sidelines. It's very important here when you establish this kind of veteran leadership to not lose your composure in a situation like this where you feel like you have the game well in hand. Marcus Allen talked about what he calls the killer instinct.
And he comes slipping down. And right now, let's go to NFL Live in New York and Bob Costas.
Well, Charlie, decent men and women everywhere hope that Rich Goins can get down off that billboard, either for humanitarian reasons or simply because they don't want to see him again next week on NFL Live. David Treadwell chips in, kicks the field goal. Rich indicates that it's good. Denver leads 17-3. Charlie?
Thank you, Bob. And Denver played, I mentioned this earlier, against Kansas City. They really played well last week. Elway had a great ball game. And he's been taking so much abuse in Denver. Nice to see them finish on an up note the last few games and get their fans back.
One thing I'd have to say about the Broncos, first of all, they've been very unlucky, but they definitely have not quit. They've come to play every week, and they've been competitive.
5-yard.
Delay of game called against the Raiders. They really have been. They have stayed in there. And that's hard to do when you have those long losing streaks, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you hit, say, the middle of November and you know you're out of it. It's tough to motivate yourself week in and week out. But give Dan Reeves credit. He has fielded a competitive team, albeit not as competent as it was last year when it made it to the Super Bowl.
It'll be 3rd down. And around 13 or 14 to go for the first down. The Raiders have run off 8 minutes on the clock on this drive. Here's pressure from the backside. Interesting. Now, he was throwing the ball away. He was avoiding the loss. But he threw it to a side. Now, that call is only by Jim Tunney. And where Tunney was, Schrader was behind him. And he could not look back over his shoulder and see him. So it was the positioning of Jim Tunney that way he got away with it.
Clearly, there's no doubt that he did. That was intentional grounding. Marcus isn't even looking around right there. He's just throwing that away. He's not interested in completing that pass. Marcus hasn't even turned around yet. Jim Tunney, I think, was actually on the part of the field which was lighted now. As you can see right there from that vantage point, that's the part where you're in the light and you cannot quite see. Look at him squinting. You can see them. You're right. That was a judgment call that he just missed.
Jeff Gossett will be kicking. Mitchell Price is the return man. Drops it, picks it up, and is hit at the 2-yard line. Elvis Patterson, the toast of the Coliseum. 43 yards on the kick.
Tackle by number 43.
We'll be back in just a moment. Raiders lead it 24-7.
All right, America, time to check in briefly with Rich Goins on the billboard in Denver. The lead has been trimmed to 7, but do you get the feeling you're coming down, Rich, my boy?
Well, I feel real good today, Bob. I just want to thank you for the basket that you sent to, get me well, but I think I'm coming down tonight, and I'll have better care at home.
Your first stop is the shower, I take it.
The bathtub, grab a couple beers, I'll be home.
Well, back to Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen, who I know, like the rest of the world, are watching the story as it develops breathlessly. Charles?
No, Bob, actually, I'm waiting for my package from you. I guess Santa's a little late, but I know that you'll send something nice. Harold Green, the ball carrier, and he is stuffed by the defense of the Raiders. So it'll be second. And we talked about, the offense of Cincinnati and the fact that the players come up with names and they have a lot of fun with the ideas. Well, some of their players, the names of their plays, we talked to Sam. I said, this week we have a Montoya, we have a Yogi. You said that would be...
Ain't over till it's over play.
And they have the Dover. So also we have the Mayflower and the Beacons if you want to give them equal time. So we're thinking with microphones on the field, we might even go commercial and sell it. Coca-Cola on 3. Hike. Pick up a little extra money. Harold Green again, and he is bent back just shy of the 5-yard line. Clock continuing to move. The Raiders on top 24-7.
Deep in their own territory here. I'm surprised at the conservative nature of it. I realize they're down 17 and it's not likely for them to come back here, but this would be an opportune time for Sam Weiss to see how this young quarterback can operate under some pressure, under some adverse circumstances. Inevitably, quarterbacks come in to mop up games and just hand off. This is a chance to give this young man a chance to throw the ball and see what he can do.
Incomplete. Yesterday at practice in Cincinnati, they were 2 hours late because of the wind, and they had to stop in Kansas City and refuel. We were talking with Mike Brown, and when you kind of play the games of who is left for Cincinnati, this game, of course, is important, but the game next week is the one that is really important to them.
Well, that's right, because they have the tie-break advantages. If they end up tied with Houston at the end because of their division record, they would have the advantage. Their problem now is regarding Pittsburgh. They have no control over Pittsburgh, so what in effect they would hope for is to beat Houston and then hope that at the season-ending game, which would be in the Astrodome against the Steelers, that Houston would defeat the Steelers.
And here is Tim Brown on the return, and he is out of bounds at the 31-yard line. 39 yards on the kick, a 13-yard return. And we will return in just a moment. 24-7, Los Angeles. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. 4 minutes and 7 seconds left in the ball game here. Raiders up 24-7. And Los Angeles has the ball at the Cincinnati 31-yard line, and Vince Evans has come in at quarterback, replacing Jay Schrader. Steve Erline and James Fitzpatrick, the two inactives for the Raiders. Craig Taylor and Lewis Phillips out with injuries, the inactives for Cincinnati. And Napoleon McCallum is the ball carrier.
If I could abuse a little Shakespearean sonnet here, it would be perseverance, thy name is Vince Evans. Vince Evans there with the Chicago Bears, and when they drafted Jim McMahon, they said, thanks for coming, but we'll see you later. Then he goes into the Chicago Blitz, hangs out a little while. That league goes defunct, and no one is interested in him. Vince Evans then crosses the picket line in 1987 as a replacement player, plays very effectively for the Raiders, and they keep him around. And so he's been off and on with the Raiders, cut, waived, I don't know, at least a half dozen times. But this year, because of the holdout of Steve Erline, he has been the backup for Los Angeles Raiders the entire season.
2nd down and 6. McCallum again gets the carry. He's going to have a couple of yards on the play.
Also staying on that story with regards to Vince Evans at 35 years of age, it just goes to show that you can hang in there for a period of time. And the Los Angeles Raiders are one of the teams that really believe that experience is of value. Take a look at this graphic right here. 15 players, 30 or over on this team. This is an organization that's not afraid of the fact that, oh, okay, the guy's had 8 years in the league, so he might be getting along in the tooth. The experience factor, particularly now in December, heading into the playoffs, is something that's very significant, particularly in the locker room.
3rd down and 4. Jamie Holland and Sam Grady are in the ball game. So the Raiders here with a chance to pick up a little experience for those players who see most of the action on special teams, but not that much on offense. Vance Mueller is the carrier, and we have whistle sounding. In case you followed the career of McCallum, the 2 carries he has had here.
Ball start, number 76, it'll still be 3rd down.
That's on Steve Wisniewski. The 2 carries he has had here gives number 41, Napoleon McCallum, a total of 10 carries for 25 yards rushing on the year. So, you know, obviously he hadn't seen that much play.
Well, he had a terrific career there at the Naval Academy, and of course they somewhat bent the rules so he could play professional football earlier than his 5-year commitment. But he's a terrific young man. Teammate of mine for 3 years when I was there with the Raiders. Later with the Chargers, and then released, and now back with the Raiders, courtesy of Steve Ortmeyer, who was then the general manager with the Chargers, now back with the Raiders in a similar capacity. Can do a lot of things. Return punts, play both fullback and halfback.
Charge, timeout.
And a timeout charge to the Los Angeles Raiders. Raiders 24, Cincinnati 7. Time remaining in the game. Raiders 24, Cincinnati 7.
Charlie Bowe is still arguing the point to the other players. Honest, he had the angle on me. That's what he's trying to tell him right there.
He's talking about Rod Jones of the Cincinnati Bengals, who caught him at the 1-yard line. And Boomer Esiason.
Little different reaction on that side of the ball. Groin bothering him, but he got a big game next week. Still within their power.
Mueller missing on the handoff, bouncing off of Vince Evans, and he goes to the 25-yard line. Gain of 5. The big game, the big play of this game came in the 3rd quarter. In the first to Bo Jackson, just as it did a year ago. And in case you were not with us at that time in the 3rd quarter, we'll give you another look at it.
Well, this is a sweep to the left, and if you have your history, remember the Super Bowl, or I should say almost the distance. Rod Jones in heavy pursuit, and everybody's got their arms up assuming it's touchdown. Nobody catches Bo Jackson, right? Right?
Wrong.
Right? Wrong. Rod Jones, 1-yard line.
And now the 2-minute warning. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The lights are on. It's been an absolutely gorgeous day today here in Southern California. The Raiders out in front of Cincinnati by a score of 24-7. And it is a 4th down with the ball at the 25-yard line.
I wonder if they'll finally let Vince Evans pass. They got the 3 wide receivers in.
As he gives off to Mueller. Mueller has the first down. A flag is down as he goes to the 16-yard line. Chuck Panama, Ron Lux, our spotters, Dennis Mnuchin, our statistician. Pleasure to work with you, gentlemen. Have a happy holiday, and we'll see you back here in a couple of weeks for the San Diego Raider game.
Holding, 64, still 4th down.
That's on Todd Pete. Today's Ronald McDonald Children's Charity Player of the Game is Bo Jackson. McDonald's and NBC will donate $5,000 on behalf of all the players selected in today's games to Ronald McDonald's Children's Charities to help give kids a better tomorrow.
Charlie, if you'd have told me before the game that, hey, you know what? The player of the game is only going to have 6 carries, I'd have said, get out of here.
But if we'd have told you he was going to have
an 88-yard run, yeah, okay.
And be above 100 yards for the 3rd straight game rushing. Mueller is dropped at the 35-yard line. And so Cincinnati takes over on downs with 1:49 left in the ballgame. For those of you who follow the Bengals, another thing that we might point out that Max Montoya told us about the offense of Cincinnati. They come to the line of scrimmage, and now it is Todd Philcox, who is the quarterback, and he will call 2 plays, come to the line of scrimmage, and then pick the play with an audible at the line of scrimmage that fits the defense that the Raiders are in.
You know, one of the problems, speaking of plays, Charlie, is the inability to get a lot off, and I think a lot of that is the time factor.
And he hands to Sanford Jennings.
I think that's only the 53rd or 54th play for the Cincinnati Bengals today. And Sam Weiss was saying that that's part of the problem that they've had this year is the fact that they have not been able to get as many offensive plays as they would like. Take a look at their average last year, nearly 10 plays different, and a lot of that certainly has to do with the fact that there is a very conscious effort, you know, to make the games shorter. But of course, what that does is that takes away a big play, you know, takes away 1 or 2 big plays a week from a big play offense like the Cincinnati Bengals, very dependent upon that.
Averaging 9 plays less this year per game than last year. Nice play action fake. And the pass is overthrown. Jim Riggs, the intended receiver.
Now, Bo Jackson, oh, come on, you know what? That disappoints me. Do something that's original. He dumped the thing of Gatorade on Art Shell. This guarantees the Los Angeles Raiders in making the playoffs.
And in slow motion.
Take a look at Bo Jackson taking a page out of Harry Carson's book. And still he misses. Look at that. He misses partly. How could you miss that body? Come on, Bo. Boy, I tell you what. Bo knows a lot of things. Bo don't know Gatorade dumping. Congratulations, though, to Art Shell. This will be the first time since 1985 that the Los Angeles Raiders have indeed made the playoffs. And it also guarantees them their first winning season since that time. But that's also very impressive. 15th playoff berth in the club's now 30-year history.
And when we talked with Art yesterday, entirely different than when we talked to him the 4th game of the season.
It was surprising. He seemed very relaxed because, you know, here it is December. But I think that when we talked to him earlier, he was caught up in what everybody else was talking about, how great he was. And he told me then, he says, Todd, I haven't done anything yet. Now you'd have to say they're in the playoffs. He has done something.
He has done something. You're right.
Will go on sale starting tomorrow morning at the Raider ticket office in El Segundo, at the LA Sports Arena box office, and at more than 200 tickets.
The quarterback for the Bengals, the 3rd of the ball game.
Southern California.
And he gives off to Stanford Jennings. Alex Gordon makes the tackle. We'll take the final countdown. And it's now official. Raiders 24, Cincinnati 7. Raiders are in the playoffs. Now let's go to NFL Live in New York City and Bob Costas. Bob?